All right, what's going on, everybody? I hope you're doing well. I got a 3-bike comparison for you today. I got 3 moped style bikes lined up out in the driveway, and we're gonna kind of compare, contrast them a little bit. So let's go check them out. All right, here we go. Here's the 3 bikes we're gonna look at today. The first one is the Ariel Grizzly. Next up, we got the Spark Cycleworks Bandit. And then this is the fabulous Shadow Step. And look, I know it's tough right now trying to make a decision which bike to buy. So while I've got access to all these bikes, I figure the more information I can put out here on YouTube for all of you to use, the better, right? So let's start walking through these a little bit. We'll talk about each bike. But let's start with this Shadow bike. Now, Fabulous describes it as a scrambler e-bike, but all these bikes are kind of the same style, right? Where they're meant more for riding it around like a little motorcycle using the throttle and not so much for pedaling. You can pedal them, but they're just not really comfortable to pedal. All right, so let me give you some specs on this Fabulous bike. It is a dual suspension, dual battery bike with a 1,000-watt motor. So you got 1,000-watt rear hub motor. Controller max, I believe, is 28 amps. And then you got dual 60-volt batteries. One right here, one right here. One's kind of like in the frame, and this one sits on top. And then, of course, you got the double crown front suspension fork and dual shocks in the back. It's a pretty comfy ride. It's not really easy to pedal, but it's really comfortable to just kind of jitney around town on this bike. It's got good power out of this 1,000-watt rear hub motor. Level ground, top speed, about 30, 31 miles per hour is what you're gonna get. And really, I think the standout feature of this bike is the range. I rode this bike full throttle, barely pedaling at all, and I got almost 50 miles out of it. That's pretty good. Throttle only, full blast for, I think it was 48 miles I went, and it had pretty much like full power up until the very end. It was still going like over 28 miles an hour, even when the battery was flashing, no charge left. So great range on this one. It's also got a really cool look with the mag wheels. It's the only one here with mag wheels. It always makes it look a little bit cooler, I think more motorcyclish when it's got the mag wheels. But it's got headlight, tail light, brake light, color display, hydraulic brakes, twist throttle on it. Comes with a little rear rack with a grab handle here, which you're gonna need because it's kind of a heavy bike. This thing weighs like 106 pounds. I mean, there's a lot of metal in this frame. It's a very, very sturdy frame, and you got the dual batteries adding extra weight. So it is a heavy bike. I guess that's one drawback to it. But it's got a cool look, it's got pretty good power, and it's got great range, and it's the cheapest one here. This one, I believe, is $26.99. That's the cheapest of the bunch by several $100s. So this is the one that's gonna get you the furthest under that 3K mark. So if that sounds like what you're looking for, check it out. I'll put links to all these bikes below so you can find them. Next one is the Spark Cycleworks Bandit. And this is more of a small shop kind of bike. These are built in USA. This is the only bike here that's built in the USA. These are built in Connecticut, handmade by a small team. So if you're looking for it made in the USA, this is your guy. Basic specs on this one, you've got 2,000-watt rear hub motor. So you got a lot of power in this one. 35 amp controller, 52 volt, 25 amp hour battery pack, pretty decent sized battery pack. And again, dual suspension, you got front suspension fork with these dual motorcycle shocks in the rear. And those are, I believe, in fact, actual motorcycle shocks. This one's highly customizable. I think that is gonna be the standout feature on the Spark bike, it's kind of like a blank canvas when I see it. There's just so much that you can do here with this huge area. If you're someone who thinks that you're gonna be really building out your e-bike, changing the batteries. I mean, this battery's just mounted on the top of this controller box, this big, huge box here, tons of room in there with a normal battery cradle. So it's easy to swap out parts on this thing. You can swap out shocks, you can swap out headlights, swing arms, batteries, controllers. There's a ton of room on this thing to customize. If you're that guy that's gonna say, all right, I'm gonna go buy a bike that's fun out of the box. And this is fun out of the box. You got 2,000 watts, goes 35 miles an hour on flat ground. You know, it's fun for a while, but when you get, tired or bored or you wanna customize, this is the bike for that. It'd be nothing to drop a 72 volt battery in here, a much bigger rear hub motor, get the more robust swing arm put on there, and you could really build this thing out. And once you do that, or even right now, this comes with VIN number, bill of sale, manufacturer, certificate of origin, all that stuff you need to actually register it as a moped. You can't say that for the other two, or really hardly any e-bikes out there, but this one you can. This will come with VIN number and all the paperwork you need if you ever want to take it and get a plate on it. You can do that with the Spark Bandit. Now this one's got like street slicks on it, but you could put a more aggressive tire on there, give it a more scrambler look. Big, huge chainring. I think it's a 60-tooth front chainring on there. What else? Headlight, tail light, brake light, turn signals. Turn signals front and back. They look like motorcycle turn signals. This one's all set up to be basically DOT approved. Hydraulic brakes, color display. This one's coming in around, I think right around that $3,000 mark. Normally it's priced $3,000, $3,100, somewhere in there. I think if you find them on sale, I just saw it on sale last week for I think $2,800. So just a couple $100 more than the Shadow. And you're getting a little bit more performance out of it, a little bit more speed, I should say, out of it. As far as range, it's probably gonna have far less range than the Shadow bike is gonna have. But like I said, standout features on this one, highly customizable, kind of a perfect canvas to build out something crazy if that's what you're looking for. But it's still pretty good right out of the box. And this one's probably the easiest of the three to pedal. It's got a little bit longer wheelbase. It's kind of stretched out. You got room to move on the seat. It's a nice big long seat. Whereas on the Shadow bike, it's a shorter seat and you got the bump in the back. So you're stuck right here. There's not a whole lot of sliding back and forth, up and down to get into a pedal position. It's a little bit more scrunched up. This one's a little bit more stretched out. All right, that's enough on Spark. Let's jump up to the Grizzly real quick. And mine's been modified. Just ignore the modifications for the moment. But the basic Grizzly is a dual motor bike. This Grizzly is the only dual motor one. You got a 1,000-watt geared hub motor in the front and also a 1,000-watt geared hub motor in the back, and it's got tons of power. Also have dual battery packs. This one in the frame here is a 52 volt 15, and this is a 52 volt 20 inside the rear rack. A lot of battery capacity on this one. Just a touch, just a hair more than the Shadow bike from Fabulous on battery capacity, but you're gonna be burning through it so much faster, feeding these two motors. So it's not gonna have the same range, but it's gonna be crazy on power. That's the standout feature on the Grizzly over these two. Power, so much more power. It is way faster off the line. It has a ridiculous takeoff speed when you're in dual motor mode. It's got crazy hill climb power. Power. This one's got tons of power, but you pay for it. It's the most expensive one here. Normally like $3,400. And if you catch it on sale, you might get it like $3,100. So it's by far the most expensive one. You're paying for that extra power, but you do get dual battery packs, dual suspension, and dual motors. So standout feature here, definitely power. I've never tested the range. Don't even know what number to tell you for range on it. It's all gonna be how you drive it really, how much you weigh, how much you're using the throttle, how much you're using both motors. But it's a pretty comfy ride, I will say that. It's a very upright, tall handlebar, BMX style kind of handlebar. So it's a really comfortable ride position. And it really looks cool. I love the black and yellow. That's like my favorite color combo. You got front suspension fork. You got dual springs in the back, so full suspension. It is a really good ride. Comes standard with the passenger foot pegs. I took off my passenger seat to put this bag on to hold my extra battery because I dropped a mid-drive onto this bike to make it even more crazy powerful. This bike has 3 motors. So check out my video on that. It's now not a Grizzly, it's the Cocaine Bear. It's just totally amped up. This thing pulls off the line like crazy. But in terms of, I chose to customize this one. Not this one. This isn't even my bike. This is Spark's bike. I got to be giving this back, so I can't be modding it. But if you said which of these 3 would you pick to go and make a custom bike, I'd pick Spark. That's definitely the canvas for a custom build. If you want just raw power out of the box, I might tell you go get the Grizzly. If you're trying to keep it under 3Ks as much as you can and you want crazy range, then I'm going Shadow. So that's kind of a really fast summary. Prices, it goes $26.99. I think that's 28 to 3, somewhere in there, and that's like 31 to 34, depending on when you find it. So they increase in price as they go up. Power, they kind of decrease this way. Most powerful next, and then this one. Top speed, about 30, 31, 35-ish flat ground, and this is about 34, 35 flat ground, but much stronger off the line for the Grizzly. But all 3 of them are definitely a ton of fun. They're all pretty heavy though. That's kind of a running theme on these moped style bikes. This is about 106 pounds on the Shadow. The Spark is right around, I think, 95 pounds. And then the Grizzly stock is, I think, like 108. So they're all pretty much a 100-pound bike. They're not really meant to be one that you're going to be lifting in and out of your vehicle or onto a rack a whole lot. More just one you're going to park in your garage and ride it around town as needed. All right, well, that was just a little bit of information, maybe help you in your buying decision. I did a full review on the Shadow and also on the Spark Bandit. The Grizzly, I just did a couple videos on modifying it, so if you're interested in that, check them out. I'll link them all below. Hopefully you found this helpful. If you've got a question on one of them, drop in the comments. I'll do my best to answer if I can. That's all for today. Thanks for watching.